everybody. My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Certainly hope everyone is having a better day than I am. As I've, said in my last few lives, things have been very tough lately with my little dog Ellie, and her situation is very grave, and she has her good moments, her bad moments, and for every little glimmer of hope that she shows of improvement, it seems like something else is going wrong. And that stroke she had, excuse me, the little stroke that she had has done its damage. And I know my time with her is very limited, and I'm just trying to keep her comfortable and loved, as much as I possibly can until she gets ready to leave me. Everything in me wants to go with her because I know how she feels. I'm tired too. I'm tired. I'm very tired. But in other news, in true crime news, that's why we're here. Leilani Simon has been found guilty on all charges in the murder of her 20-month-old son, Quinton Simon. And this one was a nail biter. And as I said, I reserve the right to revise any prior statements I made or opinions I may have. And I've been saying all along that I was very afraid of a Casey Anthony outcome, and that we all needed to prepare ourselves for that. And I am happy to say that I was wrong. I am glad to admit that I was wrong. She was found guilty on all 19 charges, including malice murder, felony murder, the covering up Quinton. Let's see. I don't have my indictment right. Oh, okay, here it is. I've got it. Malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, 1 count of concealing the death of another, 1 count of false report of a crime, and like 14 counts of making false statements. I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't too hung up on all the making the false statements charges and whatnot. I knew they would have to find her guilty of those. That was a given. That was too obvious. Her lies, one right after another, proven lies. It was proved one right after another. So her being found guilty on all the lying and the false statements and stuff, I wasn't too hung up about. I'm glad she was, of course, convicted on those charges, because it just adds more time to everything else. Now, she's been convicted now of 1 count of malice murder, 2 counts of felony murder, and 1 count of concealing the death of another, along with all of the other charges and convictions. These are the important ones. These are the big ones. I can't see how they can give her anything less than a life sentence. I just, I don't know what each charge in the state of Georgia, what term that these charges carry, but any murder charge carries at least 20 to life, or 25 to life. And the fact that she's got 3 murder charges and concealing the death of another, this is, by the time they get through stacking up all her time, she'll be sentenced to way more years than what she'll live, actually. With her age, could she come up for something in the future similar to what has now come up with the Menendez brothers? If you haven't heard, for those of you who followed the Menendez brothers case back in the 90s, they have called for the Menendez brothers to be resentenced to a life sentence. And because of their age at the time of their crime, they want them immediately eligible for parole. Under a similar thing here in Arkansas that's called the Youthful Offenders Act. I actually know someone that got out of prison on the Youthful Offenders Act back when they were 19 years old, and got caught up in some shit and committed a crime and did get out after a couple of years on the Youthful Offenders Act. But could something like that come up later on? Sure. What do I think about them calling for the Menendez brothers to be released? That actually is not a case that I followed back in the 90s. I was very well aware of it, watch the news coverage and things like that, but I did not get into it as I did many of the other cases in the 90s. And that all happened around the time of the O.J. Simpson case. So I was, completely indulged in the O.J. Simpson trial and whatnot. So I just never did get into any in-depth studying or paying a whole lot of attention to the Menendez brothers case, but the crime they committed was completely horrible. Was there, of course, a different way that they could have gone about doing things? Absolutely. Um, they could have reported their sexual abuse and whatnot, to authorities, to uh, Health and Human Service. I mean, there's a lot of things they could have done other than what they did. But whatever. That's their deal. And that's their family. And if their family is okay with all of it and feels that they're okay with all of this and they want it, then far be it for me to deny that to them. Justice is a funny thing, and what is justice? How much time is justice served? It's it varies, and it's different, you know, with everybody. But as I said, I was not trying to be Debbie Downer or negative Nancy. I just really felt that we needed to prepare ourselves for the possibility that they might not get her on all these different murder charges. Though, like I said, those were the ones that I was mainly concerned about. Um, Leilani chose not to take the stand. I was shocked that Billie Joe was not called um, to the stand. I she did apparently Billie Joe did apparently release a statement to a member of the press there in Savannah, Georgia, in stating that she just wants Quinton's remains back so she can give him a proper burial, and that she has not been in court because she does not support this Leilani having done this, and she will not stand by her uh, because of what she's done. So, but that she just wants Quinton's remains back so she can give him a proper burial. And in my opinion, uh, first of all, I don't think she deserves them. That's just my honest opinion. I don't think she deserves his remains. It's because of her negligence that this kid ended up dead. I don't care what she says. She can jack her fucking jaws all day long. At the end of the day, Billie Joe Jawjacker Howell, you are a despicable human being, and you have your own self to blame for the death of this little boy, for the neglect he endured, for the abuse that he endured. Why the fuck did you take that baby away from that fucking whore only to give him back to her for her to kill him? I wouldn't show my face either. I'd be ashamed. You ought to be ashamed for what your daughter, Leilani Marie Simon, did. Because at the end of the day, you had custody of that little boy. It was your responsibility to see that he was taken care of, and you left him in the home with 3 fucking drug addicts, alcoholics, and people who are immature and have no business even supervising children, much less having children. None of your kids do. And that's exactly why you've lost all these kids. And I hope to God the state of Georgia never, ever allows you to see those other two children. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for their neglect as well. You left those three children in the custody of two alcoholic drug addicts that all they cared about was getting high, getting drunk, and sleeping. Did not want to take care of those kids. But you have to live with this, Billie Joe. You have to live with this. And I hope little Quinton, the side of his face, haunts your fucking dreams for the rest of your pathetic, shitty life. Also, apparently, I hear you sold your house. 535 Buckhalter Road, Savannah, Georgia. Apparently, they sold their house back in February. Huh. Good riddance. What's mattered? Bullhorn Betty and all them run you out of there? You don't want to live in that home because you don't want to be ridiculed for being the piece of shit you are? Everyone knows where that house is. 535 Buckhalter Road. Everybody knows where that house is. Would you have to sell it because you didn't want people standing out in front of your yard screaming and yelling, telling you what a piece of shit you are? I will agree with that. I will agree with them telling you and your daughter what pieces of shit y'all are, because the fact remains that y'all are a piece of shit. However, disturbing the rest of the peace and the rest of the people in the neighborhood, we could have done without all that mess. But anyway, yeah, you know, at the end of the day, Billie Joe Howell is just as guilty of Quinton Simon's death as Leilani is, in my opinion. Danny, he'll probably never see his little girl. He'll never know his little girl. She was just 6 months old when this happened. It's hard to believe it. It's been 2 years now since all this happened. It just seems like yesterday, or just a few months ago or whatever, but it's been a whole 2 years, and where has the time gone? But anyway, for in my last 2 lives, I spoke a little bit about how there were a few things that I could relate to regarding Leilani, and could understand how she felt, you know. Um, and that's okay, you know. Being able to understand, you know, or have compassion uh, for someone because you've been through it yourself. But at the end of the day, what little bit of compassion I could have had for her went smooth out the door when she walked up on that witness stand. When they called her up to ask her if she was going to testify and blah, 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 blah. I don't know if y'all saw it when the state said the state rests its case. The law and crime camera panned over to her, and she looked at that smart ass lawyer of hers, and she kind of she made that eye roll like, well, and just the smirking and all the laughing and everything. I don't think she took this seriously. I think she is that immature that she didn't take this seriously, and she thought she was going to get away with it. That lawyer blew enough smoke up her ass saying, oh, they can't prove how Quinton died, or they can't prove murder. They can't prove you actually intentionally murdered him. It could have been an accident. Well, you know what? When you have an accident with your child, you take them to the hospital. You call the police. I have taken my kids to the ER from accidents. Both my kids broke their arms, you know, uh, fell and hit their heads and stuff like that. You don't just let them lay there in their playpen throwing up till they die. You take them to the ER. If you wake up to your child laying deceased in their crib, you call for an ambulance. You don't put them in a trash bag and take them down the road to the old nasty trailer park and dump them in a dumpster. So what one little tiny ounce of compassion that I had for her in understanding, some things about her, that's not enough, of course. And like I said, it doesn't stop me from thinking that she deserves a life sentence um, for what she did. So, but, I was just, I really, I was very afraid, you know, and hey, I found it better that if you don't, not to set yourself up for failure, so to speak. And I've just learned it's better to think the worst and hope for the best. That way you're not disappointed. Same thing goes for people too. I tell you what, life has taught me a lot of hard lessons. Um, there's a few other things going on in the world of true crime. So the guys that killed Ahmaud Arbery are asking for a new trial on regarding some juror misconduct. And I haven't had a chance to get through that, watch that whole hearing yet, because I've been concentrated, on this Leilani Simon trial and whatnot. But I do want to go in to see what that is all about, because the murder of Ahmaud Arbery was a case that became very, very near and dear to me and was very, very heartbreaking. And I covered that on my other podcast that I had before I came to YouTube, that I wish I had never left and came to YouTube, but stupidly I did. And I covered that case extensively. That was a very, very heartbreaking case. And uh, those pieces of shit are right where they need to be, right in the Georgia State Pen, right along with Leilani Simon. They can all lock them up and throw away the key for all I care. Those men are horribly despicable people. But I'm gonna look into that. But that's really all I wanted to talk about, was just my thoughts, on the verdict and everything. I'm glad this is over. I'm glad it didn't string out for a long time. I'm glad the jury didn't deliberate, especially over the weekend, um, because the longer they do deliberate, the more chance you know, you start to worry. So I'm glad this was a swift verdict. Quinton will get the justice that he deserves. And also, as I've stated in my last two lives, I am going to be going back into hiatus with my channel. I I came back for a little while after a break this summer, and I just don't want to be here. Um, I I don't see any point in continuing to do this channel. I've not ever been able to grow this channel. I've been trying for 3 years to grow this channel and never have been able to. Um, and and lost even more followers this week. So, but hey, I don't care. I'm 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 sure I know why they left. And don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. That's all I got to say. Because if that's the environment that you people want, then who am I to begrudge you from it? But this is a very toxic environment, and at the end of the day, YouTube allows it. And what's the sense in fighting a useless battle? What's the sense in fighting a battle you're never going to win? So um, like I said, I am going to be um, doing away with my channel, and I don't know what I'll end up doing with it. If maybe I'll do something else in the future, but probably not, because I just don't see a point in continuing to stay in a toxic environment. I don't see continuing to stay in an environment where you can't grow and can't be successful, um, and where you're rejected and not wanted as well. I've got personal things in my life that I need to worry about and concentrate on. Um, just trying to get through to the end of the year, and don't have any idea and have no promises for a future in 2025 either. So that's just the way it is, the way things are, and I have to accept those things. So anyway, I guess that's all I have. I want to thank the people who have followed my channel and interacted with me here on my channel. Uh, those people are few, but you know who you are, and I'm glad that you are all my friends. I'm glad that I met y'all. Um, and as I said, you know who you are because we talk outside of YouTube. We're friends outside of YouTube. I did manage to find a few good people here in here on YouTube. Like I said, they're few and far between, but I have met a few good people, and those people know how to reach me. Those people know how to get in contact with me, and that's what I want. Is those friendships and stuff. So anyway, everyone have a wonderful night, and I guess I'll see you around. When you go out into the world, though, if you never listened to a word I've said in 3 years on the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, please listen and remember this. To be the change that you wish to see in this world, do unto others as you would want people to do unto you. As I said, be the change that you wish to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out, everybody. Have a good night.
What's happening, y'all? If you're looking for a sad true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip